Chapter 2. Bam! Leona looked up. What had that been? Had it come from the hall? It was always so quiet. Intrigued, Leona jumped off the bed to see what was going on. Leona ran to her door and pulled it open, just a crack. She peered down the hall to see Tessa, fists clenched, facing her own door. Tessa seemed about to tell the door something, but she changed her mind and turned away. Leona watched for another starman as Tessa stomped onto the dorm's cosmic transporter. Bright green sparkles flew from her hair as it swung back and forth. Tessa could be stubborn, Leona knew, but this was a side she'd never seen before. In fact, in the 2+ star years they'd been together at Starling Academy, Leona had never witnessed Tessa losing her cool. Not once. Not even with Gemma, her younger sister, a first-year student and their fellow star darling, whose mouth was as big as Wishworld's sun. No, Tessa was always the even-tempered starling, the peacemaker if anyone quarreled. Her roommate Adora must have done something pretty outrageous to get a reaction like that out of her. Twinkle, twinkle. On her desk, Leona's Starzapp rang. A holo-call was coming in. She dashed back to answer it. Star greetings! Her fellow star darling Cassie popped up, waving. It's me! Cassie chirped. She was in her reading nook in her dorm room, surrounded by star-shaped quilted pillows and piles of holo books and holo magazines. So, have you heard anything more from Scarlet? I'm worried about her. Aren't you? I guess. Leona shrugged. Right now, though, I'm much more interested in this fight Adora and Tessa just had. Fight? Tessa and Adora? Cassie's pale skin shimmered in her surprise. Leona made an X on her chest. Cross my stars and hope to shine. Moon and stars? What happened? I don't know. All I saw was Tessa storming down the hall. Just then, a tiny star flashed in the upper corner of her Starzapp, indicating that lunch would soon be served. Lunchtime already? Exclaimed Leona. Sunspots! Where did the morning go? I still have to take a sparkle shower. Give me 10 starmans, and I'll meet you outside, between the dorms. Freshly sparkling and dressed in her favorite gold tunic, marigold-colored leggings, and golden boots, Leona joined Cassie in the courtyard between their neighboring dorms. Cassie, who was just in her first year at Starling Academy, roomed with Sage, their fellow star darling, in the Little Dipper dorm. The building was where all first and second year students lived. As a third year, Leona lived with all third and fourth year starlings in the only slightly larger but more luxurious Big Dipper dorm. Arm in arm, as was the custom for starlings whenever traveling in pairs, they strode past the Star Quad, the star-shaped heart of the Starling Academy campus, where the iconic dancing fountain cheerfully sparkled and splashed. Just past the quad rose the semi-star-shaped band shell, Leona's favorite place on campus, apart from her room. Her brand-new band hadn't played there yet, but they would soon. A few more practices, and they'd be ready to take the stage and rock the school. Behind the band shell stood the Academy's enormous dining hall, the Celestial Café. In case anyone missed the signal on her Starzapp, a great glowing star above the door flashed, announcing mealtime to everyone. Inside the vast, warmly lit dining room, which was somehow cozy and elegant at once, Leona and Cassie joined Piper and Gemma, their fellow star darlings, who were already seated at the table the group had made their own. Ever since they'd been chosen, the girls had eaten their meals together at the table by the window, with what many thought was one of the best views from the school. Gazing out, One could see both the jewel-like crystal mountains and the glistening violet-hued luminous lake. These landmarks were the pride and joy of Starland City, and they were beautiful indeed. Still, Leona personally enjoyed the view from her own dorm room window even more. It was of the glimmering skyline of downtown Starland City, the place she'd grown up dreaming about moving to, as a superstar, of course. Before the girls could even exchange star greetings, a bot waiter appeared. It filled their crystal goblets with sparkling water and placed a piping hot roll fresh from the oven for each of them on their china plates. "Star greetings, Leona. Cassie, what is it that you desire?" asked the bot waiter. Let's see." Leona's forehead wrinkled. What would she have that day? There was no menu for them to choose from. They could truly order anything their starling hearts desired, and Leona prided herself on never having ordered something more than once since she had been at Starling Academy. "A garble green soufflé for me, please," said Cassie. "Really? Again? You don't get tired of that?" Leona asked. "Not really," said Cassie. "It's tasty, and it's healthy. Why mess with something that works?" Leona cocked her head and grinned, waggling her eyebrows. "I don't know. Because you can?" "And for you, Leona?" The bot waiter hovered politely near her shoulder, ready to transmit her request to the cafe's gourmet bot chefs. "Right. Okay. For me, what are you having?" Leona asked Piper, eyeing the glossy emerald tendrils piled on her plate. "Who, me?" "Oh, a starweed salad." Leona scrunched up her nose. I'll pass. What about you?" She turned to Gemma. "Me? A Druderwomp burger," said Gemma, moving in for another bite. "Ah, now that's a vegetable I like. I think I'll have that. A Druderwomp burger, well done, with extra moon cheese. I haven't had that before, have I?" The bot waiter scanned its memory to check. "No," it replied decidedly. "Never with extra cheese." "Starmendous! Star salutations!" Leona thanked their server with a wave. "So," she went on, gazing around. "Where's everyone else?" "Well, we know where Scarlet's not," said Gemma, as a glob of bright orange mustardia blossom sauce dribbled down her chin and onto her shirt. She glanced down, not sure where to wipe, since it was the same color as her top. "Well, that I knew," said Leona. "You do know she's moved out of my room." "Really?" said Gemma. "Already?" Leona nodded. "Completely. Everything's gone. Not a speck of hot pink or black. It's like she was never there." She smiled. "Ah, but she was. Don't forget that," said Piper. I wasn't going to, but star salutations." Piper tossed her pale green hair over her shoulder. "You're welcome," she replied. Cassie spoke up. "Well, Scarlet still has to eat. Even if she's not a star darling, she's still a student. Is she sitting with someone else?" The dining room was so vast it was hard to identify each and every sparkling face, but Scarlet had always stood out in a crowd in her palette of hot pink and jet black. The 4 star darlings scanned the wavy rows of tables. One by one, each shook her head. If Scarlet had been in the cafe, they would have spotted her in the rainbow of students, without a doubt. "It wouldn't be the first meal she ever skipped," said Leona. "You know how antisocial she can be." "Honestly, I never could see how Lady Stella ever sensed star darling potential in her, let alone see her granting wishes. Well, don't tell Libby that, Gemma warned. She's really upset about the whole thing, and her stars get out of line so easily lately. You'd think a successful mission would have helped, but no. Gemma groaned. Honestly, I don't know how much longer I can room with her. Hey, here come Clover and Astra, observed Piper, pointing with her chin. Leona and the others turned, eager to find out what news the second-year roommates might have. If they did have any, though, it didn't look like it was very good. What's wrong? Cassie asked as they reached the table. Clover shrugged and nodded toward Astra. Ask her. No, ask her. Astra slid her warm auburn eyes to Clover. Seriously, what were we fighting about again? Well, if I remember correctly, you were cheating. But I wasn't. But you were. Oh, just admit it, Astra, Gemma cut in. Everyone knows you hate to lose. Astra glared down her nose at the ginger-haired starling. Her own flame-red hair flickered indignantly. That doesn't mean I'd cheat, Gemma. Who asked you anyway? Could somebody please start from the beginning? Said Cassie. It's no big deal, said Clover, shrugging the whole episode away. She shook off her plum jacket and tossed it over the back of her chair. With a flick of her head, she shook her violet bangs out of her eyes and sank into her seat. I'm not even mad. Anymore. We were playing a friendly game of holo cards in our room, and Astra cheated. The end. But I didn't cheat, groaned Astra. I mean, what kind of starling do you think I am? Besides, Clover, I didn't even need to cheat to win. You tried to shoot the moon when you knew I'd broken hearts. Let's just forget about it, said Clover, bowing her head. You know, I was kind of missing having a roommate, said Leona, chuckling. But not so much anymore. It's not funny, Piper said, leaning intently over her salad. I don't know if you starlings have noticed it, but lately I've been sensing a lot of tension in the air, including from my own roommate, Vega. She wasn't talking to me this morning when she left. In fact, Piper frowned and slowly sat back. I wonder if that's why she's not here. Because she's still so mad. Like Tessa and Adora, exclaimed Cassie. What about Tessa? Gemma's ears glistened at her sister's name. By that time, though, a duo of bot waiters had returned to take Clover's and Astra's orders and serve Leona's and Cassie's food. Star salutations! Leona licked her lips and used her wish energy manipulation skills to mentally flick open her napkin, a crisp cloth square, which she then laid across her lap. Could we worry about all that stuff later and worry about eating right now? She begged.